Hi, my name is Edwin Bugenhout and I'm a product manager at iText. I really would have loved to be with you guys in Chicago this year to discuss our document strategies for the year. But unfortunately, the year is 2020. Yeah, here I am sitting in my home office trying to do a DIY video. But still, very grateful to the team from DSF for really setting this up and giving us the opportunity to still talk to one another. So I'm happy with that. Um, what I actually would like to discuss with you today is the idea that today, if you look at companies, if you look at organizations around the planet, um, it comes to the conclusion that basically every organization and every company has become a software creating company. So all of us, we have our mobile apps that we share with our customers. We have our customer portals that we use, and so on and so forth. So in some way, shape, or form, we are all producing software, and if it's software to communicate with one another, then typically at some point we need a formal way or a way to formalize the communication between us and our customers. And typically that's still in this present day and age that sort of formal communication still takes the shape of a document, being a digital document, but still there's this connection to the world of pen and paper. And the document format that typically is used for that sort of more formal communication is PDF. So the odds basically are very high that at some point you'll come across the task or the requirement to automatically generate PDF files from your applications. And what I would like to do with you today is actually tell the story of New Ocean Health Solutions, which is an American company building health apps. And in their apps, they also had that requirement. So we'll just have a look at what their app is all about first.
Sometimes it's hard for people to do things that are good for them, like working out, or watching your cholesterol, or eating less sugar. Maybe meditation? I hear that's supposed to be good for you. Even getting motivated to use the health and well-being tools that you paid for can be hard. Your company invested a lot of money in those, but why aren't people using them? It should be easier for your people to do that stuff, right? The good for you stuff. What if someone made it easier for them? What if someone made it fun, or made it more like a game, or gave them rewards along the way? What if someone came to them and explained it all, and personalized it just for them? Then doing good for you stuff would feel good. Then they'd probably actually do it. New Ocean's Health Solutions do that. Our Voyage app is easy to use, easier than those other health apps, and it helps change behavior. It makes your people want to do the good for you things. You went for your annual physical, good for you. You stayed on top of your finances, good for you. Manage your diabetes, good for you. More good news? New Ocean's Health Solutions aren't expensive. They're way less expensive than apps that aren't as easy to use. And they even cover chronic conditions and use predictive analytics to help prevent them. It's a solution your people will really use. That's good for your bottom line. Because at the end of the day, what's good for them is good for you.
So actually, New Ocean Health Solutions had built this very cool app, this mobile app that allows you as an employer to kind of give something to your employees to check their health and to enroll them in all sorts of programs for both their financial, their mental health, and their well-being. So that's pretty powerful in fact. But in the flow of the application, at some point, actually at 3 different points, a report needed to be generated. And there's the MyPath report, there's a biometric screening report, and then there's a health assessment report. And originally they came to us at iText because obviously they knew our technology. And what they wanted to do is, kind of approach the challenge here in a coded way, which is perfectly all right, using the iText PDF library, the iText PDF SDK. They would already save massive time if you compare it to like really low level coding those PDFs. But basically, what we told them at that point is that maybe they could have another look, and consider another approach, because actually the reports that they were showing us, or that they wanted to generate, were either full of data that would come in from data aggregators, all sorts of data aggregators, and data feeds. That's especially true for the MyPath report and the biometric screening report. But then this health assessment report is also full of like conditional statements. If the employee has this or this and that condition, then we want to show this part in the document, and then we want to enroll him or her into that specific program. We want to show some feedback on the program in the report. So we kind of pointed them to another thing, another idea, and another product that we had just came up with at the time called iText Dito.
Your customers need invoices, certificates, tickets, statements, or other personalized documents. But for developers in the world's leading corporations, time is valuable. We know the drill, and that's why we created iText Ditto, a powerful enterprise-grade template engine that combines user data with templates to generate custom PDFs. Thanks to its intuitive template editor, you'll be creating sleek, consistent templates in no time. Whether you're a drag-and-dropping noob, a CSS code wizard, or a developer with a knack for back-end customization and IT integration, the data you import from your database, user input form, or RESTful API is merged with customized templates in the backend. Our SDK and API are powered by iText technology for easy integration and is scalable to output large volumes of documents. Fewer development cycles, quicker tweaks, and better support for the latest PDF standards. What you see is what you get, and what you get is more time. Schedule your demo today.
And so that's exactly what Jeff Humphrey and the team from New Ocean Health did back in June 2019, just about a month after we launched iText Dito. And we started talking. So there was a demo, and we started talking. And the guys from New Ocean Health, first of all, explained what their application looked like and what their challenges around document generation were. So the real challenge was obviously, first of all, to collect that data that's floating in from different data sources. So there's these data feeds. I think there are two different data feeds that come in at New Ocean Health for the Voyage application. And then there are also web forms in which they collect data from their application users. And as such, they gather all the necessary data about a person's individual path through the Voyage application. So that's basically step one in the way they wanted to go about this project. And so they would aggregate all that data into one JSON file. JSON is a data format, structured data format. So that JSON file, the idea was to use that data to kind of merge that with a template, and then use that template to generate one template or two or three templates to generate three highly personalized PDF reports for the user in question. Okay, so but they had some requirements around those reports and the way in which those reports should be built. First of all, accessibility was a very important aspect, of course. Being in the world of health applications, accessibility is massively important, and at least they wanted to make sure that they would comply with the WCAG standards, so the Web Content Accessibility Standards, in their application. So also the PDFs that they would create needed to be accessible and needed to support screen readers and other assistive technologies. Another thing is that those reports, as new programs would become available, or new insights or whatever would become available, would be easy to adapt, easy to change. So design and deployment of those templates should be a very, very straightforward and easy process, an intuitive process, also a process that they did not need, or they would not necessarily need developers for. Maybe their business users could, in fact, manage these templates. And another important aspect was that whatever approach they would choose would need to give them the capability to generate documents really fast without people having to wait for a document that loads in their application for too long, and also in high volumes if needed. So in order to address these challenges, we suggested they would use iText Ditto, which in fact contains two different components. On the one hand, there's a template design application, which we call iText Ditto Editor. And then on the other hand, there's a powerful API, which is available as a native Java application or as a REST API that runs in Docker containers. And I think it's for the REST API that the guys from New Ocean Health opted in the end. But let's first of all zoom into the editor application that the guys are using to design their templates. So in the iText Ditto Editor, you can actually start from scratch building a new project. A project is a package that contains multiple templates if you want. But you can also just start from an existing project by clicking Open Project, or just basically go to a place where a project.ditto file lives, and then just actually dragging and dropping it right in here to open up the project. So I'm opening up one of the templates that the guys from New Ocean Health built, and just to quickly walk you around in this in this template editor. It's a Wysiwyg editor. It runs in the browser. You can run it on your own premises if you want to, but you can just run it in the cloud as well. And you can use it to build templates, and you don't have to be a developer to actually do that. It comes with a easy-to-use toolbox on the right-hand side over here, just that helps you to insert rich text and form fields like text fields, but also images and things like checkboxes or just tables where you can easily define how many columns and rows you want in that table. So easy to use, and more advanced stuff is available as well, like including barcodes and so on and so forth. But on the left-hand side, what you see in the interface is some resources that you can use. Those can be fonts. Those can also be images, and the images can be drag and drop right into the canvas over here to kind of build out your application. You can actually link images to image placeholders that you can put into the template from the toolbox. Most of these things, like the images, like the text, and so on and so forth, come with a nice properties panel, like a settings panel where you can define the font that you want to use, the size, the color, the font face, and so on and so forth, even character spacing, and so on and so forth, alignment. So all these things are there. Also for tables, for instance, edges, types of edges, radiuses, if you want to have rounded corners on your pictures or your tables, and so on and so forth. All these things are possible through an easy-to-use properties panel. But sometimes you want to do more stuff, more advanced things, and for that reason, we also support template style sheets, like CSS style sheets that you can either link if they live somewhere externally through URL in that case, or that you just can embed. And if you add an embedded style sheet there, then you can, for instance, declare specific fonts and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's possible as well. So you can easily do your designs, like for instance, if you want to have a nice table with a background color that is orange, for instance, you just use the color picker to set that color over there. This kind of remembers which colors you used before. It's very easy to do. It's just all there. If you want to set the text color to white, then you simply do that as well in the editor. So very straightforward, very easy. But how do you map those data elements from that JSON file then inside that template? Well, for that we have a second mode here, which is a data mapping mode. If you just click that mode, it's super easy to start adding data binding. So basically just position a cursor wherever you want it to go, and then you hit the icon for data bindings. It's as simple as that. You click the or you just open the connected data collection, and you just select the field that you want to bind. Easy peasy, And there you go. So you now have your user's first name and your user's last name just printed on the report. It's very straightforward, very easy to do. And even if you want to do more complex stuff like conditions, there's wizards to help you. Like for instance, this paragraph, say that we only want to show that paragraph if the, for instance, the user in question is an opted-in user. So when the field is opted in is true. So we just say OK to that and use this field as text. Use a, no, not as text, as a true false, like a Boolean, and say is equal to true. And there you go, conditions built. And that's as easy as that. You see it in the conditions panel in the overview, the tab over here. You see that the condition is there. Okay. At any time during the process, you can actually spin this template through a preview. So that's that's an example generation to show what a PDF would look like that is based on this template if we were to produce it for a specific data sample. So we have some changes. So this thing is asking us to save those changes. So let's do that. And then we can actually run our preview with an example sample that we have over here. So let's run that. So this is the result then, and if I scroll down, you can see that we have this nice report that's built up that stretches over multiple pages, that kind of loops all sorts of settings, and includes like headers and footers, has page numbers and anything you want in a document, really. Okay, easy peasy. Now we also talked about accessibility. Accessibility is also a very important aspect. And actually, to make sure that a document that you are producing is going to, based on this template, is going to be accessible, is going to be supporting screen readers, what you actually need to do is make sure that it's not only a PDF, but PDF UA, so it kind of follows the PDF UA standards. PDF UA stands for universal, so the UA stands for universal accessibility, and that's kind of the set of rules that a PDF needs to apply or needs to comply with to be able to be read out by screen readers and other assistive technologies. So let's select that, and immediately our kind of tool is telling us that we have a couple of issues, like for instance, your document to be able to, to support screen readers, it needs to have a title. So I'm going to call this the my path result report. Okay, and you can actually this title can also come from your data, so it can be a dynamic title as well. And then the screen reader knows which language or which language voice it needs to kind of activate. So let's select English over there to get our Batman voice speaking in English, right? So that's what we want. So let's apply that. Maybe there are other things that we need to do. And actually there's one more warning that our PDF compliance checker, PDF UA compliance checker is throwing at us. Just to tell you, just to tell us that there's one more thing that we have to fix before we're absolutely sure that the PDF that we will produce with this template will be PDF UA compliant. So that means that they will be able to be read out by screen readers. So let me just have a look at what that warning is. Well, apparently there's a missing alternative description on an image. And I can actually just click over here to take me to that specific image. It highlights over here, it's that header image that we see. So it's, you probably saw that it changed a little bit to bluish. There's a blue overlay over that image. And right now it's actually activating the cursor, which is already blinking right here. So I can start my type my alternative description. This can come from the data once again, but I can just type it as well. Like I call this the header image. And there you go. That's basically the only thing I have to do to make sure that my template is PDF UA compliant and will make accessible documents. Once I'm done with my design, the only thing I need to do is actually save and export my file. So when I export my file, I can actually go on and use it in the API. So once the design is finished, you can actually export it as a .dto template archive. And that template archive is actually a wraparound an HTML template, in fact, with some resources and some specific information on top. The archive can then be uploaded to the work folder of an API instance, and it can be either a native Java application or a REST-based API, which is for instance running in a Docker container. That's the setup that New Ocean Health has opted for. And the API itself, the main operation in that API is the PDF producer method that you can call to generate PDFs. The only thing you need to provide is which template package and which template within that package you want to use, and you have to pass some data. And the result will be PDFs. It's as simple as that. Let me show you.
So once you've exported that package, that .dito package, what you actually can do is upload it to the work folder of an API instance of iText Dito. So in this case, it's a Docker instance, and once we have those templates in there, we can actually start to use them from the API. Now, obviously, the API is that's a coding interface, an integration interface, where you can actually use the templates and create PDFs. So I've got this Postman thing running. Let me just check if I have my Docker up and running. So I have a Docker container that is running right now with a Dito SDK or API instance in there. So we're active. And I have 3 requests here ready to actually demonstrate to you how the Dito API works and how easy it is actually to use it. Now, the most straightforward request is this post request. It's this simple request to generate a document. It's a request to the PDF producer method, which is the main method in the API. Obviously, as the name suggests, it produces PDFs. So what it needs as an input actually is a reference to a template package. This is the template package that we're using in this example request. A template name, an invoice template in this case, and then we pass the data. So from line 4 to line 101, we're actually just passing data. So let me minimize it a little bit, and then the last thing you do is just set the path that the PDF file will be saved on. So this is actually the output path. You don't have to specify a path. You can also just stream back the generated PDF as a byte stream. So that's another option. And the only thing you have to do is actually just send the request. So we're sending the request and we're getting a generated PDF back. So this is the report that we get back. So we have generated a PDF file of 3 pages. There's nothing in the template repair report, so that means that our template is set up correctly. The highest severity of issues is null, so it seems in the PDF production report. So that's to check what went wrong during the production. Nothing went wrong as it seems. And here's our path to the generated PDF file. So it's a very simple request, easy, and we get our PDF immediately. So the next thing, the PDF, the password protected PDF. So what you actually can do is add a couple of additional parameters. So if we just minimize the data over here, you see that this is the same request basically also to the PDF producer, but we added some properties over here, like the PDF version that we want to target. In this case, it's version 2.0. iText Dito also supports 1.7. And there's encryption parameters as well over here. So we can set an owner password, and a user password. So that's an access password and an editing password. Basically, that's what it boils down to. And you can set some more specific encryption parameters, like do we allow printing? Do we allow content copying? Do we allow editing, like just placing signatures and adding text and so on and so forth, and do we allow screen reader access? Okay. At any given time, you can check the license. That's a GET request in this case, where we just use the license method send, and that will tell us how many, when our license will expire, and how many documents we still have left on our volume-based license in this case.
And so there's the template editor on the one hand and the powerful API on the other hand. And it's a great way to save time, to save efforts. It's easy template design. There's fast document generation. It's exactly what New Ocean Health Solutions wanted. And we were lucky and happy that Jeff Humphrey from New Ocean Health Solutions was willing to share a few words. So I'm super happy to give the last word to the customer in this presentation. Thanks for watching.
Hi there, I'm Jeff Humphrey, a Senior Application Architect at New Ocean Health Solutions, a health solution company in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania that provides applications to help manage chronic conditions and promote wellness. I wanted to share with you my experience integrating the iText Ditto product into our application. A disclaimer first, I was in no way compensated for providing this review. Prior to using iText Ditto, we had used other code-only PDF generation libraries to create our PDFs. However, this turned out to be time-consuming and an arduous task, especially for complex reports. A particular difficulty was, one, knowing which HTML and CSS elements were supported. You didn't really know how the document would look until it was generated, and in some cases they weren't supported at all, resulting in an unexpected output. And two, anything that was not rendered as an element, for example, page breaks, margins, and keep together blocks, were hard to code and hard to visualize. My initial research into a more robust PDF generation utility led me to iText HTML to PDF version 7. Upon contacting iText for support with prototyping, I was turned on to iText's latest product, iText Ditto, a what you see is what you get PDF designer that allows you to design PDF templates visually and render them in your application by merging the template with JSON using the backend SDK, or in our case, using a Docker container iText API implementation that allows you to request PDFs RESTfully. iText support was key during our implementation of the iText Ditto templates and backend integration. Through their Jira support system and one-on-one guidance over messaging, I was able to learn the tool and get a prototype up and running within a couple weeks. iText was very open to enhancement suggestions and in fact implemented several enhancements to support our authoring requirements for our prototype report. They also worked with us on performance enhancements to meet our QA testing report generation time requirements. Once our prototype was complete and deployed, I was able to use the knowledge I acquired during initial design to convert another one of our reports in one day, something that from experience would have taken a couple weeks using a code-only library. Thanks for your time.